The grief-stricken family of an Iranian asylum seeker who died in the Australian government's care has laid his body to rest at a funeral in his home country. As questions persist about the death of Hamid Khazaei, Lateline can reveal he died from a rare bacterial infection that could have been easily treated. Jason Om has this exclusive report.
At a Tehran cemetery, a mother mourns a son who died on the other side of the world. Goldana Khazaei can't comprehend how a young man seeking safe haven in Australia could end up like this back in his home country. Over the loudspeaker, the mourners are asked to raise their hands in prayer. It's often difficult to gain media access in Iran, but this vision obtained by Lateline shows the huge turnout at Hamid Khazaei's funeral. There is no God other than Allah, the crowd cries. The 24-year-old died in a Brisbane hospital last month after suffering a rare bacterial infection that entered a wound on his leg while he was detained on Manus Island.
He was a good kid. Everyone loved him. He was quiet and polite.
Speaking from Tehran, his brother Mehdi Khazaei says his mother is inconsolable.
She's very upset. She tries not to cry in front of us. Whenever she's by herself, she starts crying. My father is the same. As for me, I still can't believe this has happened.
Brisbane doctors have identified the cause of the infection as chromobacterium violaceum, a bacteria found in soil and stagnant water. It's an aggressive bacteria that attacks the body after it enters the bloodstream, causing abscesses in internal organs. But the infection is rare, with only about 200 reported cases worldwide since the 1920s. Hamid Khazaei's brother says he was physically fit, but had complained about soreness in his foot months before he died.
Early on, he'd tell us he was fine and continued to exercise. But about 4 months before his death, he called and said he had a sore foot.
It was very best friend for me because every day we did exercise in the morning.
A man who says he's a former detainee and knew Hamid Khazaei says the asylum seekers were told to be vigilant about small cuts and the risk of infection in the tropical environment. The former detainee says Hamid Khazaei had initially applied a bandage to a wound on his leg about a month before he died.
He said that I think that something cut my leg and something like infection. He got infection.
But the young man's condition worsened, and according to the former detainee, Hamid Khazaei was not able to see a doctor because they were booked out. He says it was only when his friends appealed to a security officer for help that he was put into medical isolation. Hamid Khazaei is said to have become scared that his leg might have to be amputated.
His leg became dark, and Hamid was worried about his leg because he said, "Oh, I don't like to cut my leg."
Ali Mesbahi told Lateline that after Hamid Khazaei was transferred from Manus Island, the asylum seekers were told to clean up their rooms to reduce the risk of spreading any germs.
Wash your clothes again and wash all of your bed again because the infection may be stay in your room.
It took 3 days for Hamid Khazaei to be airlifted from Manus Island to hospitals in Port Moresby and Brisbane. The family says there are many unanswered questions about the quality of care he received on Manus Island.
We want to know how he was diagnosed. Did the doctors attend to him in time? Why has this happened to him?
High-profile barrister Stephen Keim, who acted for Mohammed Hanif, is now representing the Khazaei family. Also on board is lawyer Ruth Hudson, who says the coronial inquest will be critical for her clients.
I think it's incredibly important that the truth is provided to the family so they can have some understanding of how this happened. It will hopefully bring them some closure. And I think for the public, this has been an immense interest to the public, and I think people want to understand how this could have happened.
The Immigration Minister Scott Morrison has declined to comment ahead of the Queensland Coroner's work, while the Immigration Department's Chief Medical Officer will conduct a review of the medical care provided to Hamid Khazaei. With the lengthy legal process already in train, there'll be few answers soon for the young man's mourning family. Jason Om, Lateline.